TYT Sports talking boxing as always with our guy Robert Exel, the editor-in-chief of boxing.com. Mexican Independence Day and two humongous fights. If you have not seen our previous preview, that was a great exchange of words right there, back to back. A previous preview of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Sergio Martinez. You can find that as a video response. Right now we're talking Canelo Alvarez and Josesito Lopez. For Canelo Alvarez, he is the title holder, the 14-1 favorite. Robert, let me ask you this. How exactly do you try to stay focused on a fight? You know, fighters are always focused. I understand that. But as a 14-1 favorite and a guy that is a late sub into this fight, as a matter of fact, the third sub into this fight, how do you stay focused on one guy?
No, you're talking about like if I were Canelo, how would I stay focused on this one guy?
Yeah.
Well, Canelo knows what he has to do. I mean, Canelo knows what his strengths are. He is only going to fight the way he always fights. He's going to come forward. He's going to barrel forward. He's going to use his power. He's going to be exposed because he's going to be standing straight up. His chin is going to be vulnerable. But he's fighting a smaller guy. He's fighting a guy who came up from junior welter to welter to fight and beat Victor Ortiz, and now Josesito is coming up yet again to now junior middle to fight Canelo Alvarez. But I think Josesito is very, very confident. He already accomplished the impossible by defeating Ortiz, at least the impossible in many people's minds. And he believes that he will perform the impossible again tomorrow night.
Saul Canelo Alvarez, again, the 14-1 favorite, the WBC title holder at 154 pounds. Let's look at him for a little bit. 40-0-1, 29 knockouts. He had an interesting quote, which I'm going to criticize. He said that he understands that Lopez, quote, throws a lot of punches and good combinations, but he said he will counter that by, quote, by making use of my experience. Okay, his experience. Again, 22 years old. Let me list his past fights. Carlos Baldemir, Lovemore Endo, Matthew Hatton, Ryan Rhodes, Alfonso Gomez, Kermit Cintron, and the depleted, possibly fighting way past his good years, Shane Mosley. Robert Exel, what exactly is Canelo Alvarez talking about with this experience? He has experience over, you could possibly even argue solid fighters, but these aren't top-notch fighters. These aren't prime fighters.
But Canelo is really repeating what he hears from everybody else. I mean, he is a fighter not unlike Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who is being exalted before his time. His greatness has not been established. He is a champion. He's been fighting since he's been 15. He started fighting pro at 15. I mean, he's been at it for a lot of years. Again, he has a substantial amount of fights. And again, everybody's telling him that he's great, that he is great, that he's this amazing fighter without the evidence in his record to indicate that he's this great fighter. So he's fighting somebody who is much smaller than him, who is himself not a great fighter, who's not going to get any better. Josesito is as good as he's going to get. I believe it's possible that Canelo will get better as the years progress, but he still fights the way he fights. He's a stand-up fighter. He's very stiff in there. He's very awkward. He's big. He's strong. There's no question about that. He can take a punch as well. But when he fights the right guy or the wrong guy for him, I mean, it could be a disaster. I do not think that Josesito Lopez is going to be that disaster Saturday night, however.
We'll get to your pick, which you obviously just showed your hand for. But let's talk about Josesito Lopez for a moment. 30-4, 18 knockouts. 24 of his 36 fights have been fought less than 140 pounds. So this is a humongous jump for him. Do you think, you know what, actually, scrap that question. I was going to ask if you think he'll survive. We'll get to that in a moment. You know, looking at him, 28 years old, he looks much younger. You go back to the Victor Ortiz fight, it feels like that series of events leading up to that fight was just breaks for Josesito Lopez. He was supposed to fight Kendall Holt. Kendall Holt pulls out. Victor Ortiz is supposed to fight Andre Berto. Berto tests positive for PEDs, so Josesito steps in and beats the crap out of Victor Ortiz. He was down on the scorecards, but he broke Victor Ortiz's jaw in 2 different places, ends up winning the fight. So, I mean, do you think that he'll possibly be maybe feeling very fortunate that he's in this position overall? Or do you think that, you know what, he's going to come in and he's going to try to throw a lot of combinations, which he did against Ortiz?
Well, I think he's going to. I think he does indeed feel as though he's fortunate to be in this position. But I mean, he basically created his own good fortune with his fists. He won that fight against Ortiz fair and square, and he's coming to win. He's not coming for a payday. Payday is great. He needs it. He deserves it. You know, young guy, good kid. But he's coming to win. He sees the flaws that Canelo presents. Whether or not he is skilled enough, talented enough, and sort of in control of his body enough to exploit those flaws remains to be seen. I do think that he is probably the best fighter that Canelo will have faced thus far, which, as you've indicated, is not saying a great deal. But again, he's stepping it up. It's about time he stepped it up. I'd love to see Canelo challenged. I'd like to see how Canelo reacts when he's challenged. And I would believe he will be challenged by Josesito Lopez. But I do not believe he'll be defeated by Josesito Lopez.
Josesito Lopez, by the way, as I said before, is the third option. The third option for Canelo Alvarez. First, it was Paul Williams, who unfortunately suffered a motorcycle accident. He is currently paralyzed from the waist down. James Kirkland, a shoulder injury, and mainly that, well, you could argue that the shoulder is not intact, but also that he did not like his purse. So it went from, oh, excuse me, he is actually the fourth substitute because Paul Williams, James Kirkland, Victor Ortiz was supposed to be in there, and then Josesito fills in. So a few more questions for you, Robert. Do you feel like that Josesito Lopez at times can get wild with his punches?
Extremely wild with his punches, no question about it. I mean, he's a good fighter, but he fights the way he fights. He's not going to be improving any at the age of 28. He does get wild with his punches. He's vulnerable. He's vulnerable to be hit. He got hit plenty by Victor Ortiz, but he kept coming. And I think if he gets hit by plenty by Canelo, he will not keep coming, and that is the problem. He is vulnerable. He comes to fight. His defense is good, but it's not impeccable. It is porous. He's going to get hit, and Canelo, as we know, is strong. He's got a lot of power there. So it's going to be a test. It's going to be a test for Lopez, and a serious test. But win, lose, or draw, he's going to come to fight, and that's what makes this fight interesting.
As I said before, 24 of his 36 bouts were less than 140 pounds. The obvious observation, you could say, about Josesito is that he looks a little thin. And correct me if I'm wrong, will the game plan be for Saul Canelo Alvarez to just attack the body over and over and over again?
Well, I think he'll be attacking the body over and over again, but he'll also be going for the chin. I mean, basically, Canelo is not that gifted a fighter. He is strong, he's attractive, great backstory, looks fabulous, big, meaty, tough guy, but he's not an impeccable fighter. He has flaws, he has faults. Someday he's going to be exposed. But I think all he can do is sort of barrel forward. He's going to deliver his punches. The body is definitely a place to go. But again, Lopez is tough. I mean, he's tough. He's going to put up a good fight. He's going to take whatever punches Canelo can deliver, and he's going to fire back. Whether or not he can dent Canelo remains to be seen, in part because of the size difference, in part because Canelo is Canelo, and he's one tough hombre.
Why is he exactly not that gifted of a fighter? Is it that you don't think his mechanics are right? Is it that he just looks a little raw? I mean, what are the flaws in Canelo's game?
Well, he seems so awkward. He's such a stand-up fighter. I mean, any fighter who's a stand-up fighter is vulnerable, rather than fighting at a crouch. So he's harder to hit. But being a stand-up fighter, he can't bob, he can't weave, he can't really block punches. He can block punches with his hands, but he can't move out of the way of punches, which again is a problem. Classical boxers are able to sort of move their head an inch, 2 inches, get out of the way of punches, and then fire counter punches. He's not in a position to do that. Again, he can block punches with his arms, with his gloves, but it's not excellent for counter punching. He's an offensive fighter. He's a come forward fighter. He's not this subtle craftsman. He is this fighting machine. We need fighting machines, but we also mustn't forget that there are subtle craftsmen, as we saw last week with Andre Ward, who introduce a whole new level to the game of boxing.
So is the game plan for Josesito basically bob and weave? I mean, obviously he will come in as the huge underdog, and he will most likely weigh a lot less than Canelo Alvarez on fight night. You said that it remains to be seen that Alvarez can possibly have a dent put in him. Can Josesito be that guy to put a dent in him, or does he just need to bob and weave and move around the ring?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Josesito's going to land his punches. Whatever game plan he has coming in will go out the window as soon as he and Alvarez begin to trade. And, of course, when they start to trade, that's going to be the problem. But Josesito is going to have to fight him. He's not going to be able to bob and weave his way to victory. He's going to have to come in. He's going to have to absorb some punches, land some punches of his own, and just keep on coming. And that is sort of his style anyway. Again, he's going to be presenting a lot of pressure on Canelo, more pressure than I think than Canelo is used to. But I think it's going to be not pressure that Canelo cannot deal with, because again, he's going to be firing away shots of his own.
Canelo Alvarez will make $2 million minimum for this fight. Josesito, nicknamed Little Jose, will make roughly $212,000 for this fight. So I know that you tipped your hat before, but tipped your cap, or what is the correct way that I'm trying to say this? Showed your hand before. Third time's the charm for me. What say you about this fight? Do you think that Canelo will knock out the likes of Josesito Lopez, or will it go to a decision?
I do not see it going to a decision. I think he's going to stop Josesito. I think before the 10th round. It's going to be an exciting fight. It's going to be an action-packed fight, but it will not go the distance, in my opinion.
Saturday night, showtime, 9 p.m. Eastern. No pay-per-view for this one, if you do indeed get showtime. Robert Exel, the editor-in-chief of Boxing.com. Follow him on Twitter at boxing_com, and follow his fantastic writing at www.boxing.com. Robert, thank you so much for the time, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great, Rick. Talk to you then.